Welcome back. It's Tim and Julie Harris, and this is your favorite daily real estate coaching and training podcast. That said, today is Friday. And as longtime listeners know, on Friday, Julie and I have free form, anything we want to go, everything we want to talk about, uh, just whatever is top of mind, whatever
It's a
interested us.
variety show.
A variety show, right? And a lot of times we're inspired by some of the things you guys suggest to us, or questions you've had for us, feedback we've had from the podcast during the week. But what we really like to focus on is irreverent, the stuff that's a little wackadoo, that's designed to make you laugh, maybe cause you to go, huh, maybe that Tim and Julie are crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, before we get to Julie's got great ideas here. 6 segments. All right. So we're going to go to 6 segments. The way we like to play this on Friday, it's a game, right? So we're going to go over these 6 segments of
And they're all short, so don't worry.
assuming we get to all of them. And you're going to let us know in YouTube which ones you liked the best. So you're watching us on YouTube, most of you do, and then just let us know which ones you liked in the comments section. And yeah, that the winner is the winner, and there we go. So as far as which segment's the winner. Now, do also want to say thank you for all of you that have directly texted me this week, interested in being in Julie and I's elite coaching schedule. Please continue to text us. I think I've had probably 12 or 15 calls so far of folks that were interested in really going to the top level of coaching. And I appreciate getting to know all of you. Some of you just decided that, you weren't ready for it, which is great. Some of you decided you wanted to start at a lower level coaching program with us, and that's great as well. But if you're interested in being considered to be part of Julie and I's elite coaching schedule, and it's not just a coaching relationship, it's about as holistic as a coaching program as we've ever created before. It's going to obviously be about lead generation, making money, building your business systems, doing all that. But it's also going to be about building your financial systems. Julie and I are going to proactively monitor along with you, like your business manager would, all the things that are going on in your financial life, from the outflows and the inflows, but also what's going on with your investment. We're also going to deep dive, like we did yesterday, on your health stuff. I know real estate coach Tim and Julie Harris health stuff. Well, listen to yesterday's podcast. You'll get an idea of what we're focusing on. We're going to talk to you about all aspects of your life, because we know, having done this at a high level for a very long period of time, it's not just enough to help people, learn how to make a lot of money. If they don't have health along with it, if they don't have great relationships with themselves or with God, if they don't have great relationships, there's so many more facets to being a successful human than just making a lot of money or selling more houses, or what's your volume or how many units did you sell. That's what elite coaching is all about. So if that's you, if you're at the peak of your career and you're ready to go to the next level, or maybe you were successful in the past and maybe you thought your best days were behind you and you're ready to open up your mind to the fact your best days can still be in front of you, or if you're just I'd say a newish agent, 5 years or less, but you've proven the fact that you know how to sell houses, now you're really ready to supercharge and just go to the top of the mountain as quick as you can. Any of those profiles and more, do consider having Julie and I as your elite coach. Just know we are very selective on who we're going to coach. We only have a handful of clients each. This is not Premier Coaching where we have hundreds of coaching clients in there, or Premier VIP. This is our personal schedules. You're getting a sort of a permanent spot in our brains that we're going to, I don't know how else to say it, but
allow you to occupy.
Well, when Julie and I, the reason we don't want a lot of elite coaching clients is because we talk about all of you guys behind your backs, the elite coaching clients. We compare notes. Julie downloads to me when we go on our walks. We talk about her elite coaching clients, what's going on in their lives and things like that. And it does require a lot of not just the effort of the coaching, but the preparation for the actual coaching sessions. So maybe, you have an hour or half hour a week with on the actual coaching call. The preparation for that coaching call is hours, because each of you have your own challenges, frankly. And maybe some of you are having financial challenges. Others of you are having health challenges. Julie and I are going to be, in essence, like your concierge, your high-level manager for many of these things. But that's really what elite coaching is. So if that's you, if you're really ready for what true coaching should be, text me directly at 512-758-0206. All right, Julie, let's jump right into your first segment.
All right. So remember, you guys are going to vote. And also, several of you have sent me your suggestions of wacky, wild, crazy things that interest you as well. So you can certainly contribute if you'd like. All right. So segment number one, I like to open with a good octopus story. Well, here's something interesting for you. The octopus that outwits DNA and how that might affect you. Octopuses are already mind-blowing creatures. They have 3 hearts and blue blood, but scientists recently discovered they can rewrite their own RNA. Okay. So that allows them to rapidly adapt to changing conditions. This ability allows them to fine-tune their nervous systems on the fly. Now, so what? Well, humans can't yet modify our RNA, but isn't it interesting that there's an animal on our same planet here that can literally edit its own RNA on the fly? We can influence something we talked about on yesterday's podcast, epigenetics. That means that your daily choices, your sleep, your amount of stress, your diet, your mindset, all of that can flip genetic switches on or off. So even if you inherited something like a fat gene, for example, is the most obvious one to use, that doesn't mean you're doomed to be that way. And I thought it was interesting. And maybe with all of this new technology and AI and the new drugs and some of the things we talked about yesterday, maybe there will be a way to just flip the switch. If octopuses can do it, why can't we?
So you and I have been exploring this a lot because there's about to be a massive wave of breakthroughs in medical stuff. And it's all on the very leading edge, but it's going to be FDA approved. This isn't woo-woo stuff. You guys know we don't do woo-woo. So one of the things I was paying attention to, and I do not remember any of these long names, and I'm not a medical person even remotely, but the gist of it was this. So there is going to be very shortly, you guys know about Ozempic and semaglutide and things like that. Those are peptides naturally occurring in your body. They make synthetic peptides that cause your body to turn things on, turn things off, right? So research this yourself and listen to yesterday's podcast about that as well. Actually, Julie, I got to write something down real quick or I'll forget about that.
Proof that it's a live show.
Yeah, proof, and we don't edit. All right. All right. So I wrote it down. Now, here's what this is in human trials studies now, and supposedly within the next 12 to 24 months, you're going to be able to go to your doctor and get what I'm about to tell you guys about. All right. All of our bodies, and this is what Julie's much more nerdy about this stuff than I am. We are all designed to, like, I'm not somebody who's naturally an athlete. Julie is. Julie has what's called an elite athlete gene. It's rare, but not that rare. And so Julie is naturally leaner, can naturally get more definition, just all the things that elite athletes can have. Me, on the other hand, my Irish genes, I guess I'm designed for carrying bags of potatoes. I just don't know.
And
so exactly. So what happens is she's genetically gifted, if you want to call it that, or more genetically predisposed, inclined to essentially be able to have a different outcome physically than I am. So I have to work to get muscle tone and whatever a hell of a lot harder than she has, than she does normally. Like if Julie wants to get, definition in her shoulders, she works out for 2 weeks and people thinks that she's on steroids. I mean, it's crazy to this day. And she's not a spring chicken anymore. God bless you, dear. Okay. Well, so it turns out that is just the way it is because you're born that way. So some people, you guys, if you're not I'm not into weightlifting or bodybuilding per se, but this is an example that was given. If you've ever studied natural bodybuilders, they call them natties, or people that take steroids, there's a difference in how they look. Like a natural bodybuilder can get to the point where there's a genetic limit of how much more muscle and definition he or she can actually put on their bodies. Then, well, a lot of them will start taking steroids and they can go to the next level. I'm not into that. I'm not suggesting you be into that either. But what they've now discovered are about to make legal and prescribable are a way. So your body essentially will say, you've got enough muscle, Tim. This is what my body says to me. You can work out as much as you want. You can have as much protein as you want. You can, lean out as much as you want, but you're only going to get so big physically. And fortunately, I really don't care that much about it, but I'm just sharing this with you guys just to make a point. So there is going to soon be a way that you can turn off in your body the thing that limits your body's ability to make muscle. And so you're going to be able to not only semaglutide uses peptides to make it so you become less hungry. And that's only part of what it does. The benefit of taking semaglutide just goes so beyond that. It cuts back people chewing on their fingernails. It's now being used for people that have drug and alcohol issues. So semaglutide has this amazing, it's a new wonder drug for a lot of people. Well, there's going to be other versions of other things, not peptides, that are about to happen. So let's say, for example, and so what they've been doing, just to try to draw a loop around this the best I can, is they've been testing this study that it's been done is testing people that are natty, people are taking semi-glutide, people are taking semi-glutide with these two drugs that I'm telling you about. And the people that have been, so the problem with semi-glutide is if you don't work out, you'll lose your body fat, and then your body will start, if you're not working out and taking protein, your body will start to lose a little bit of muscle mass.
It's an unintended consequence of taking it. Yeah.
Right. Still worth doing, by the way, just for the record,
Yeah.
definitely still worth doing. But if you take this, so if you're taking semi-glutide and you don't want to lose muscle mass, do strength training and take protein and you'll be right as rain. But with these new drugs, and I'm going to make up the numbers because I don't remember. You can take semi-glutide, you can lose the body fat, but at the same time, your body is going to, without working out, I think it was gain 17 or 24% more muscle mass. It was extraordinary.
Pretty
because
cool.
the thing in your body that's saying, oh, no, Tim's got enough muscle mass, it's shut off and allows your body to continue to make muscle gains. And some of the earlier, the medical, some of the medical professionals were worried, well, that's just going to encourage people not to work out and go to the gym anymore. Well, personally, I think that's the exact opposite of true. If you go to the gym and all of a sudden, and you've never been to the gym before, and all of a sudden you're able to lose body fat and you do some weightlifting and whatever, kettlebells and whatever, and you're immediately seeing gains.
You're getting results faster. Yeah.
Exactly. That's just going to encourage you to have more of it, right? So that's actually what's probably going to happen. So within probably 36 months, let's say, it's going to be almost abnormal to run across somebody who is obese. And then probably 4 or 5 years from now, it's going to be normal to see people that have what one would consider now to be a lot of lean muscle mass, right? To be in really good shape. That's going to be normalized because of these new drugs. What's the downstream benefits to all of that? Is that every study that's ever been done has shown that the less body fat you have and the more muscle mass you have, especially as you get older, the healthier you're going to be. It's not just about longevity, it's about quality of life. And if you follow that overall prescription, you're going to have both. Julie?
Yeah. I knew you would run with my octopus story.
Yeah, I know it always do. Well, I
It's
love
all
your
related.
octopus stories because they're so much fun. You know, Julie, they actually believe that if all the animals on planet Earth, that octopuses are the only ones that they think might actually be aliens.
I know. Believe me, it's on my research. It's on my watch list, right? Yeah, for sure.
All right, that's segment one.
I actually did ask AI about that. It has an opinion, but anyway, more on that on a future pod. All right, so segment 2 are our brains. This is same in the wheelhouse of things progressing. Are our brains actually quantum supercomputers? Physicist Philip Curion has proposed a radical idea that the human brain might compute billions of times faster than current estimates because it's not just a biological organ. He believes it's a quantum machine. At the center of this theory is something you wouldn't expect: tryptophan. Remember that tryptophan is the turkey drug that you get at Thanksgiving that makes you sleepier. And you can also take tryptophan as a sleep aid. Curion believes tryptophan may allow for quantum signaling in brain cells, making your brain more powerful than even the wildest AI. Yes, it's still, excuse me, still speculative, but it's opening new doors and studying consciousness, intelligence, and even the future of AI may be affected by this. So how about that? A new use for tryptophan. It's making you think even faster. And I had the thought, being that our Munchkin, our 11-year-old kid, when we're here in North Carolina, has pounds and pounds of turkey, and she did that crazy brain computation the other night when you asked her some math thing that you and I probably would take another minute and a half to figure out, or use our calculator or AI.
Hold on. Let's just be honest. It was a fairly simple mathematic question.
Probably. But she did it like this, is the point.
She did.
Yeah. Maybe that's because of her turkey intake, you see? I don't know.
Well, since you bring that up and it's kind of related to the first and second topic, I'm going to share with you guys something that I personally have given myself Father of the Year award for. It's my own award, and I'm the jury, and I'm allowed to give it to myself. So here it is. So when we got here, we come here for the summer, and Julie, you know, we in Puerto Rico in the summer, you can have hurricanes and all these other types of things. So not that frequently, but we come here anyway. So one of my suggested rules to Julie was that we embrace boredom. And I reminded her that when we were kids, all the cool things that came from being bored, you would do art, you'd build, you know, I'm not saying, you know, I would get in trouble a lot in the summer personally, you know, but yeah, you'd build forts, you'd learn how to do art projects, you'd go on long hikes, you'd learn how to swim, You'd, all the
Play in the
things.
mud,
Right.
play in the forest, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And screens, what they were doing, and we saw this happening with Zoe, is the screens in the games are so addictive that she wasn't having any of those experiences. So we came here for the summer. We're going to be here for, a couple months and no screens. That's the rule. So she hasn't been on anything. And matter of fact, we even took the remote for the TV. She's been 100% screen free. And so Julie and I are upstairs. Our little house here is 2 stories, and we're upstairs. And Julie's got a piano downstairs. And all of a sudden, we hear piano music happening. And I thought, well, we must have left a timer on. That's a phone. Something's going on. And it was Zoe who was teaching herself. And Julie had tried to teach her how to play piano in the past, was teaching herself actually how to play piano. And we didn't say anything. We just listened. And she got progressively better over the next few days, progressively better. And then she started doing all this art and all these other things. So all I'm trying to share with you is the gift we give ourselves by allowing ourselves to be bored is we allow our brains to start being creative, because nature abhors a vacuum.
Yeah.
And when you remove the outside distractions, and where we are in North Carolina is all about no outside distractions, this is isolated. But when you remove the outside distractions and you're actually bored, the amount of, and when you limit your inputs, especially the digital ones, your brain starts to ignite in different new ways, and it does really truly make you feel more alive. And it's so refreshing. Like I said, Father of the Year award. It's so refreshing. And Zoe's nicer, honestly.
Yes.
She's
More
more communicative. She's
more
all
creative for sure.
definitely. So if you're having any behavioral issues with your children and
Or
you've
yourself,
normalized,
even unplug for a bit.
yeah, truly. And you've normalized the screens as just being part of life, because let's just be honest, it's easier to give your kid an iPad than it is to deal with them sometimes. A lot of their behavioral issues are because you're trying to shortcut, allowing the kid to be bored. I mean, go play with the damn worms. We tell her that. Oh, I've got nothing to do. Well, there's a whole bunch of rocks out there. You can paint faces on them. I mean, that's
Right. Figure it out.
yeah, exactly. All right. So let's go
Right.
on to the next point, Julie. Next segment.
Okay. Now, we often will sprinkle in a little bit of housing stuff. Okay. So here we are with segment number 3. Breaking news: housing inventory has finally broken 1 million. But what does this mean to you? This is nationwide, right? And some of you are a lot more inventory than others. But what I asked AI, based on the fact that we have more inventory, are we seeing a lot of price reductions? Are we seeing a lot of deals going to buyers? What is the impact? Well, the median list price still has gone up by 5.3% year over year, right? So we're not losing that. And you're sending me something, so I have to.
I'm just telling you to ignore the buffering. I know it's happening. Don't worry
Okay,
about it.
gotcha. Yeah, we have a
Yep.
little storm in the background.
Yeah,
All right, so
we have the makings of a big storm, and we're on Starlink, and sometimes it
it'll
buffers.
happen.
It'll happen. Yeah. So just bear with us. The audio is fine, but if we buffer a little bit,
That's right.
yeah.
Okay, so there is a lot more inventory in the world, and we have in most areas. Mike Simonson of Altos Research did a great little interview on Housing Wire this morning about this. In many of the cities in the country, we have entered into a balanced market, or maybe even a buyer's market. But here's the thing: that does not mean, I asked for research from my AI assistant, or my army of AIs, to show me what the impact of that has been. Because the assumption, and certainly the headlines that you're going to see, will be, oh, there's all this inventory and there's tons of price reductions and the sky is falling. When in fact, the average list to sell price ratio is still between 95 and 102%. Okay. So the list to sell price ratio is the difference between the closed price and the final list price. It's not a huge disparity in most areas. There are a few outliers, as there always are. But even in Seattle, which has a ton of inventory, when a house sells, it's still going for like 102% of list. So why do you care? Why am I bringing this to the Friday show? Because I know you guys are going to be reading about it and hearing about it. It does matter in how you're counseling with your buyers. Just because they're not competing against 20 other offers does not mean that they can come in with some radical lowball, unless there's a good reason to. Maybe the house is a mess and it's overpriced. But in most cases, if it is priced correctly, they're still going to need to come in close to list price. Do your own research. Make sure you're doing comps before you are even working on the buyer side. You're used to doing it for sellers, but make sure you know what's going on the buyer sides, because more inventory so far has not spelled deals for buyers. And it isn't giving, yes, there are price reductions and it's about 30% of the market, but historically in any kind of market, it's about 33% of homes have to have a price reduction before they sell. So that sounds like something crazy. 30% of listings have had a price reduction before they sell, when in fact that's pretty normal. And that's why I listen to like Mike Simonson on Altos, because that's his thing, that's his wheelhouse. And he studies all of these markets and micro markets and is now and then interviewed by HousingWire. Back to you.
Well, I'll not in perfect alignment with what you just said, but close. Two other numbers that are incredibly exciting. The employment rate came out as like the most people getting jobs. Like the employment rate's the highest. I don't.
Lowest unemployment, you might say.
That's right. Lowest. Yeah. No, Julie. These were new people getting new jobs that were non-government
newly
jobs.
Employed.
Right? Newly employed people getting new jobs that were not government employees. So businesses are feeling more confident and people are getting hired again. That rate was through the roof. And the other thing that was really exciting is the inflation rate is down like around 1%. So all these economists on CNN and MSNBC were all squawking about how Trump's tariffs were actually going to cause inflation to go, crazy. The inflation rate is now around 1%, which is the lowest it's ever been. And for the most part, most of the tariff conversation stuff is being negotiated. China's deal just came together. And one other little tidbit I think it'll make all of you guys happy. Fannie Mae came out with a prediction that by the end of the year, the interest rates on 30-year fixed rate mortgages are going to be 6.1%, which obviously that means if you're getting a 723 or a 525 or whatever else, you're going to be able to even get a rate in the fives. So that's all great. Coming. So look what you've got. You've got unprecedented demand. Remember, Julie and I had the premise that this was going to be the start of a 25-year housing boom. Clearly, the stars are aligning around that. So you have unprecedented demand, you have pent-up demand, you have increasing inventory, which, once the interest rates fall, you're going to see a massive, unprecedented number of people that are going to rush into the market. Yes, first-time buyers, but there's a ton of people downsizing. There's a ton of people upsizing and all the other types of reasons that people transact. That is all going to start taking place. I wish it was sooner than later, but we're all going to start experiencing that certainly towards, I'd say, third into fourth quarter. And then the momentum building into next year is going to be what we've all been hoping and praying for at least the last 3 years, for sure.
Yeah. So to translate that into talking points for you guys and actionable steps, here's the thing. Because we were in low inventory for so long, some of you have not updated your thinking and your research, and you've been lazy about your buyers who are ready to rumble. Okay. So there are homes for them to buy. I interview my elite coaching clients all the time on these facts because we know that the country is not moving in lockstep like it did during the pandemic. There's areas where there's lots of inventory. There's areas where there's less. But I'll always ask them, you've got these 3 buyers that are pre-approved. They're all cash. They're relocating executives. They are ready to rumble, and they're only not in contract because maybe you haven't found them something yet. So let's take a look. What is the likelihood of you being able to set up 5 homes that meet their criteria? Or even 3 homes would be radical for some of you that were feeling like you're constantly scrambling to get just one house and be competitive. Many of them have had their eyes open and said, oh my goodness, there's like 10 that meet their criteria. There's no way that they're not going to be in contract this week. Update your thinking, because if you're stuck on the hamster wheel of, oh my gosh, there's nothing to buy, maybe you need to go back through your buyer inventory and get some of them in contract, because if you don't, they're out looking without you, and you don't want that. Okay, so that's not housing.
Segment number 4. Well, if you want housing information, just listen to our podcast.
The rest of the podcast. Yeah.
Exactly, on every day but Friday, and you guys will be awash in house. We have literally thousands and thousands and thousands of past podcasts about real estate. So if you want to really deep dive into all things Tim and Julie with regards to real estate coaching and training, listen to all of our shows any day but Friday, because Friday is where we talk about these types of things. All right. So segment number 4, have you found your favorite story yet? Make sure you're letting us know in the comments of YouTube. Segment number 4, I'll read your headline, Julie. Segment number 4, $17 billion shipwreck confirmed. Treasure awaits.
Yes, that's billion with a B, folks. The legendary San Jose Spanish galleon sunk in 1708 off the coast of Colombia. It's finally been positively identified after 300 years. This was confirmed by experts using drone imaging of gold coins that were stamped with the year 1707. Remember, it sank in 1708. The estimated value of all of this sunken gold and treasure is $17 billion. It was originally discovered in 2015 by Roger Dooley and a team using the Remus 6000 underwater robot, but now we have drone footage and AI scanning and imaging that has confirmed it. Full recovery of this wreck is expected by 2026. But of course, talking about 17 billion, there are legal battles brewing between Colombia, Spain, indigenous groups, and of course the people who discovered it. So this will be an interesting thing to follow and find out what happens to all of that crazy treasure, right? I just thought that was an interesting.
You know, I have to say, I'm curious about what 17. So, what is it, Julie, called? What's the when
Mnemonics. Mnemonics?
mnemonics?
I think that's right.
Coins, right? Some people, so
Coins.
like there's the value of coin, there's a value of gold, and then there's the value of a gold coin. And so when it says 17 billion, I would almost guarantee you it's because the coins that they found, which I think the Lima 1707 is what it's called.
Uh-huh.
I bet you that that's called those ounce coins. So those coins, if it was just pure gold, would be worth like $3,400. Whereas because it's this very rare coin from that era, that it's probably worth like 5,000.
Even
So
more, right?
I'm just nerding out on gold here.
Well,
But
so it's the
yes.
content of the gold, but also the rarity that you're talking about.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. So I imagine that so I was just wondering if that was just pure ounces, what 17 billion would be at today's price. And yeah, so that's kind of crazy because
Not nothing.
well, if it's 17 billion dollars of gold and it were all hit the market, that definitely would cause downward pressure on the gold prices. But if this is mnemonics, whatever it is, if it's being valued based off the value of the actual coin, then that's not going to be an issue because no one's ever going to melt those down.
No. And
Yeah.
they're historic too. I mean, they're 300 years old.
Yeah.
Interesting though. You never know what you're going
I
to
liked
find.
it. Where'd you find that story?
Smithsonian, one of my emails that I read nerdy stuff like this. I think that was a Smithsonian one. Okay, so segment number 5, a $7 million, not as good as 17 billion, but still, a $7 million masterpiece found in the barn. A filthy painting pulled from a dusty Connecticut barn attic turned out to be a 1666 original painting by Dutch artist Frans Post. Originally bought for 2.2 million, it just sold for 7.3 million at auction. It had to be restored. It was restored by expert Nancy Krieg, revealing anteaters, pineapples, and tropical ruins in the picture. It was found thanks to the trained eye of Sotheby's expert George Wachter. So, real estate agents, when you walk through what you're just labeling as a hoarder's house, maybe you focus your eyeballs in on something that could be more interesting than you might think. You know, Tim, you often watch those car shows where they're doing barn finds for cars, but this was one for art, and it turns out being 7 million. And Zoe read that along with me. I think that might have been another Smithsonian. She's like, I want to go look in some barns. I want $7 million. Like you and me both, sister. So yeah, I thought it was interesting, right?
Well, you know what's really interesting, Julie, if you think about like the date on that, right? So that would have been around right around when the Pilgrim.
1666. That's right.
Yeah, but that
original
for
or
that
earlier,
thing.
right?
Well, yeah. 16, I'm remembering when my Tufts relatives came, I think it was 1632 or 1634 or something.
Right in that era, yeah.
But the Mayflower was like 20 or 30 years before my relatives got to America. So this would have been something, I'm just trying to place it into my head how this would have made it to Connecticut. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we all think that it was all about British settlers, but there were French and there were Dutch and there was, you know, that was the age of exploration. A lot of even South America, look where the $1 billion shipwreck, you know, that was coming from Spain, but it wrecked off the coast of Colombia. So there were a lot of different explorers, and the Dutch were around too. So,
And you know where we live in Puerto Rico, when you guys, we didn't know this when we moved there. We basically didn't really know a lot when we moved there, but we've come to know that is one of the hottest places historically for pirates. And so especially, and of all the pirates, the meanest, nastiest ones were British pirates. We ran into a guy that it was sort of a pirate historian, and he started telling us all these members on Gene's boat.
yeah.
He started telling us
That's right.
he started telling us all these crazy stories and how all around the Caribbean, of course, you'd know this if you watch, Pirates of the Caribbean or Caribbean, but there's still sunken ships that have never been discovered. And most of the sunken treasure, or at least the sunken ships, are right around Puerto Rico. And I'll tell you guys something else fun, since it's Friday, and this I didn't know either, but the greatest percent of UFOs that are seen, now someone's listening going, what the hell did he just say?
What did I wander into?
It's Friday. We're allowed to talk about what we
warned
want
you.
to talk about. Yeah, we did. All right. So the greatest percent of those UAVs that are submersible that go, obviously underwater, are seen around Puerto Rico. So when you see the footage of UFO activity, that's those where the things are going to the water, they're almost always right around Puerto Rico. So what's going on around Puerto Rico? I don't know, but I'll give you my theory after listening to Julie's last two segments. I think the aliens are coming from a different planet and they are going looking for their own sunken treasure, and that's what they're doing. That makes
With
total sense.
assistance by octopus.
Exactly. With their
Obviously.
fellow alien kind octopuses helping them find the treasure. That makes total sense to
There you
me.
have it.
It's
Landing the
logical.
plane on nearly all points.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
All right,
I have one more.
segment six. I'll read it for you, and then you can get to your details. Segment six: Amazon's humanoid. Well, I don't know this one either. Amazon's humanoid robots are coming to your doorstep. Awesome.
That's right. This is such a fun story. I want to get some videos of this. Amazon is testing humanoid delivery robots designed to ride in Rivian electric vans, hop out and bring packages to your door like a sci-fi butler. They're being trained in a secret indoor facility in San Francisco. Robots will navigate steps, doors, and even pets. I mean, can you imagine what Max would do if he sees a robot delivery guy coming? It's powered by, it's called agentic AI that responds to real-time commands. That's not 5 years away. That's happening now. They're training now for these robots to be able to dodge, French bulldogs coming at them.
Hey, wasn't there a movie with Will Smith that basically had the same premise?
Yeah, I think so.
iRobot.
I don't think it went well, though.
Have you ever seen a movie where this type of thing goes well? I don't remember
No,
one.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I
No.
don't think so either.
So those
Yeah.
are my stories.
Well, so what did I? Oh yeah, it was Elon Musk has his robots under which company? Is it Tesla or is it SpaceX? Do you remember? I don't remember. I think it's Tesla. So he has right now, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to this, but there was a story going on that they were worried about the magnets that were needed for the robots that were going to become commercialized for residential use like next year. And so evidently there are thousands of these robots that are being built, being ready to be retailed to all of us, and they had to stop production because the magnets that they were getting from China, because the tariff wars had caused them, obviously the inability for them to get those things. Well, that's since been fixed. But what's the story? What the hell are you talking about? There's thousands of robots that are being built, that are being readied for consumer sale sometime next year or the year after that. Why hasn't anyone been talking about that? And so I did a little homework on that, and I found virtually nothing. Like the only thing I could find was what they could do basic household chores, and the most complicated of all the things they could do was folding clothes. But where is it going to be a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Now, if you incorporate AI and you're now having an AI robot that's going to be able to be in your house, that's going to be able to do, I mean, you guys, you can let your minds go wherever you want to go. But that is interesting. So, Julie, you did a great job on these. So let's go to play the game. You choose. Is the first story, segment one, the octopus that outwits DNA and what it means for you? Was that your favorite? Let us know in comments. Segment two, are our brains actually quantum supercomputers? I know mine is not, just for the record, when you were reading that. I mean, yours, maybe when I have some caffeine, maybe it's a little, Apple IIe.
You need more tryptophan is the point. We have to eat more turkey.
Mine might be like Apple IIe during like 1980s, but maybe yours is a supercomputer, not mine. Segment three, housing inventory breaks 1 million, but are buyers getting deals? No, but is that your favorite segment? Segment four was $17 billion shipwreck confirmed, treasure awaits. That's a pretty good one. Segment five, a $7 million masterpiece found in a barn. That's pretty good. Or is it segment six, the robots are coming, Amazon's robots coming to your doorstep? So which is your favorite story from Julie's ideas this week? And Julie, those were very good. Very well done.
Thank you. Thank you. And please send in, if you guys come across interesting things, I hope that you're not only reading real estate stories, right? So expand your mind. Tim told you a story about unplugging the kid from the screens and what that's done for her. That's not just for kids, that's for everybody.
That's right. So listen, guys, that is our show for Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. Make sure you got it. I'll give you guys this little parting idea. On all these calls I've been having with elite coaching clients and all the people on our EXP group, I'm going to tell you what I felt with the exception of one person. I felt fear. That's what I felt. I felt a lot of people who are expressing uncertainty of some variety, expressing uncertainty about their market, interest rates. Some of them had politics screwed up in their head. They were uncertain about their futures. And I asked, like, they weren't saying it like that, but that's the words and how they were expressing themselves. I was coaching them. It's not just us having a sales call with them, or, when you're interested in being an elite coaching client, you text me at 512-758-0206, give me some information on you, and we're going to have an actual call. But that was definitely the underlying vibe I was getting, a little bit of fear. And it's fascinating to me when you think about the fear, where is that really truly coming from? And a lot of it has to do with the simple belief that your tomorrow is not going to be better than your today. And if you give yourself the gift of allowing the wonderment of where we are right now in as humans, and we're able to accept the fact that AI is going to make things better, that the technology is going to make things better. We talked about yesterday about health is going to make things better. The market is definitely going to get better. And then you start realizing that ultimately, no matter what's happening external of me, I can control the actions that I take. So this is what I was telling all of them when I got that vibe from them, asking them what actions are you taking as a result of thinking or feeling that way? And it's all various degrees of not taking action. I said, so what if you were to do the exact opposite? So if your mind is thinking smaller and smaller and you're feeling fear, I'm going to challenge you to something. If you knew for sure 6 months from now, everything in your life, in your business and personal life, was going to be 10 times better than it is now. You're going to be making more money, listing more houses, make all the things. You listened to yesterday's podcast, you lost the weight, everything's good. If you knew for sure 6 months from now could be like that, what would you be doing today? Because what you're doing without knowing it is you're actually thinking 6 months in the future, and you're thinking without saying it subconsciously because you're watching too much news, you're hanging out with people that are not inspiring. If anything, they're sapping your energy, and they're making you feel fearful, and you're maybe being that to other people. You're making them feel fearful. 6 months from now is going to be worse than today. So if you knew for sure that 6 months from now is going to be better than you could possibly imagine, and it was going to be the start of what was going to be the best segment of your life, right? The start of the best next decade or 2 decades or 3 decades or 4 decades, maybe if technology allows us to live past 100, even past that, right? If you knew for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, what would you be doing differently today? What would you be doing differently today? And that's what I'll challenge all of you guys to think about. Fridays are all about having fun and kind of letting loose a little bit for us. And what they should be for you is an opportunity to be appreciative of the opportunities in front of you, the experiences you've had in the past, but really what you're still capable of. That's what all of you should be really excited about. If you're not feeling that way, if I just said something and it's resonating with you and you're saying, I guess Tim's kind of right, you need to actually stop it. And you need to take all actions right now to stop it. Acknowledge that you're feeling that way. Acknowledge that those feelings are resulting in inaction, which is going to result in your future certainly being less than what it could have been, but probably less than what it is today. If you're ready to go to the next level in your business and personal life, Julie and I would seriously like to talk with you about being one of our elite coaching clients. But even if you're not ready for the elite coaching level, which it is expensive, it is onerous, there is a lot of accountability, it's not for wimps. At the very least, if you're not ready for that, listen to some of our past podcasts, get inspiration from it, become excited about your future, and for gosh sakes, realize that you are in the right place at the right time. Now it's up to you to take the right actions, and the first right action you need to take is accepting the fact that 6 months from now, whether you're participating or not, everything is going to be 1,000 times better than it is today. Interest rates are falling. AI is going to make everything better, minus Julie's robots. Technology is going to make everything about your life is going to be better, whether you're participating in the improving of the human experience or not. That's going to be your decision. Does that make sense, Julie?
Absolutely. So stay frosty.
That's it. Stay frosty. Have a fantastic day. Have a fantastic weekend. If you're not doing open houses this weekend, what are you thinking? Come on, guys. Have a great day.